Welcome to episode 20 of the Be More podcast. Now, this is a quick intro to go into the podcast that I did record last week. Unfortunately, I was unable to post it, so you'll hear me have a massive rant basically saying about the things that are easy to do and easy not to do, saying, yep, I'm not failing on this podcast this week, I'm getting it done. I got them recorded and then I failed on getting it posted simply because in the car on the way to the Three Peaks, there was no signal, so I couldn't use my hotspot on my phone. And then secondly, after the first actual mountain, there was no way I was going to do anything productive. I was a broken man. And that's climbed two more bloody mountains. Ben Nevis ruined me, but an update on the Three Peaks is coming soon. Without further ado, here is last week's for the podcast. Sorry about the delay, but this week you're going to get double whammy. Enjoy. Hi guys and girls, welcome to episode 20 of the Be More podcast, and I'm very excited to be doing today's podcast because it's the first podcast that I'm doing from mine and Robin's new apartment. And I look to the left right now and all I can see is the sea and the beach and the most incredible view. If you saw the picture I put on social media and I'm on a YouTube channel, then you'll have seen I've just recently shared a blog of the moving in, so you can see that if you want to see where we've moved into. And it's literally been a goal of mine for some time now to live down here. So I would always come down here, walk up and down the beach and just look at all the places and be like, one day. And I would visualize it all the time. I'd be thinking, when I get to the point of this in my business or whatever, then I'm going to go and do that and I'm going to go and live there. And this is way better than I could ever possibly imagined. And now I wanted to do this podcast today. It's only going to be a short one because this week has been mental, but finding time to do the podcast this week has been really difficult. I've got no internet here at the apartment until, well, probably for maybe a few weeks while Virgin gets set up. I don't really know what's going on. But what I do know is I could have easily made the excuse not to do the podcast this week because I'm busy moving in, doing the Three Peaks tomorrow. Obviously this weekend I'm climbing the three biggest mountains in the UK with some of my clients, and yeah, I could have used this excuse not to do it. It's 10 to 6 and I started work this morning at 5 a.m. So I'm 13 hours into my day. And yeah, I wanted to get in the shower, to be honest. I've only eaten a chicken wrap today and a smoothie. I'm starving. Although I did just smash in a little cake, I'm not going to lie. And yeah, the last thing I wanted to do really was sit and do a podcast. But really, I'm doing it because I always come back to the book that I always recommend to you guys. The book is called The Slight Edge, and it's the little things that are easy to do and easy not to do that will define the path you take in your life, and I genuinely believe in that. So I know that my goal is to put out a podcast at least once a week, and if I don't do it now, then there's a good chance that it won't happen this week. And there's a good chance that in order to be able to post this podcast, I'm going to have to use some kind of mobile phone data or something and hotspot it. But it would be so easy to be like, oh, hey, I'm not going to do it this week. But I'm not making that decision. I'm not going to run that risk. And I've got a standard that I've set for myself, so I'm going to stick to it. And I think this is just what I wanted to touch on now in this brief podcast. And I'm going to go over basically the last year, just to make you realise like how I've progressed has been down to these little decisions. It isn't down to anything humongous. It's just down to the little decisions that have enabled me to get to a position where this has become possible. When I say like this, I never imagined this being possible. Like I genuinely mean that. Like I literally have to pinch myself when I wake up in the morning. Well, when it's past 5 a.m. and I can actually see daylight. Normally I'm up before then, but yeah, I've woken up here twice now. On day one I couldn't see much, just sort of the lampposts. Day two this morning I started work a bit later, so I actually got to see some of the daylight, and I'm here now looking, I'm like, I've got to pinch myself, like how I live here, how I've got the girlfriend that I've got, and how I've got the life that I've got. Like last night, for example, so obviously I'm doing the Three Peaks challenge this weekend for charity. We've raised like a £2,000 already, which mind blowing for me. And last night there was a game. We played a game of football to raise some money. There was 30 lads there, and that they were there just to help the charity that I'm trying to raise funds for, and it's just mental for me. I just feel so grateful to have such a great group of friends, great people around me, and to be able to afford to live in a place like this through a business that I've built myself, whereby I just literally help people. And I just can't tell you how grateful I am to be able to do this. And where I wanted to go with this podcast is trying to show you where I've come in the last year, and just for you to realise that I've got nothing special. Like, I'm not academic. Like, there's nothing that has enabled me to, or I'm not special. Like, I've not got like wealthy parents. Like, there's been nothing that if you look at all I read a book called Outliers, right? And I'm doing a tangent now, like I always do. But in that book, basically, there's all of the outliers, all of the Bill Gates, the Jeff Bezos, all these top entrepreneurs, and they all seem to have these things in common, whereby they was all born in the same kind of year group, or they was all coming into the era when the internet was booming, etc., or they've all had a certain someone in their life who has guided them or whatever. And obviously, I feel like I've had that. I feel so gifted, and so, not gifted, that's the wrong word. I feel so lucky to have the upbringing that I had, not from wealth, but from the way I was brought up. Like, I feel like that's helps me to be the person I am now and deliver the value that I do now, and the way I look after people simply comes from the way I was looked after by my parents. I genuinely believe that, so I was lucky in that sense. But yeah, I've just gone off on a massive tangent like I always do. But a year ago, yesterday, I was at Auschwitz for my dad's stag do. That sounds really weird. We went to Krakow, and on the last day, some of us went to Auschwitz to check it out, and it's something I've always wanted to do. Like, I'm quite into history. Sucks at school, like an E, I think. But like most of my grades, I think I only got like 4 or 5 C's. I'm not academic, like I said before. But yeah, I went to Auschwitz, and I was just like, it was incredible. But the point of what I was making was, my dad had to pay for me to go to Auschwitz. I had to ask him to borrow the money, and at the time I got back from travelling 3 weeks before, so obviously I was skint from travelling. I said, Dad, I'll pay you back, I'm building my business back up. And he was just thinking, I think he just thought, I don't know what he really thought, but for the last 20 odd years when I was at uni, etc., I was borrowing money off him every single week. And yeah, his words actually last week were, he can't believe how much I've changed. And that for me was just huge. Like, for me, where I'm in it every day, it's difficult for me to see how much I have changed. But if I look back at things like that, and moments like Facebook reminds me of every day when I go on there, it's like, a year ago today, I was there. I was in a place where I was at Auschwitz, no money, debt, lots of debt, not lots, but enough debt that was enough to stress me out. Come back from travelling with a girlfriend at the time who I was in a relationship that wasn't really working. Neither of us were very happy. She certainly wasn't happy, and yeah, I wasn't really. I had the best time travelling. It was a life-changing experience, like I always refer back to. But if I compare how happy I am now versus then, it makes me realise that so much has happened since then, and I would probably say I was pretty unhappy. So I came back and I wanted to rebuild my business. I was excited to do that. But if you would have told me in a year, like, I would have been able to do what I've done and get the results for people that I've got, and be able to be in a position where I can afford to live in a place like this with a girlfriend like I've got now, who's just the most incredible human that I've ever met. I just feel like this is the luckiest human in the world. And the thing that I think has made this possible for me isn't, like I've said, the fact that I'm academic, or it isn't the fact that I've got any in particular gift or talent. It's just literally, I'm willing to do the easy things that are easy to do and not to do, and I'll always do them. I'll always show up. If my alarm's set for 4 a.m, I'm always going to get up. If I've got to be somewhere for a client, I'm always going to be there. If I've got to do something, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm always going to do it. And I've just consistently followed that approach. So, for example, a gym session, there's not a hope in hell that I want to go to the gym every time I go to the gym. At the moment, I'm training 5 or 6 times a week, sometimes a bit more than that. No, I think 6 times a week. I'm having one rest day, and not one session is convenient. Not one session am I motivated really to go and do. And they're all taking out time that I could have been putting into other things, right? And I could have made an excuse not to go because I've got so much on, or whatever reason. For whatever reason, I can basically make an excuse. What helps me, I think, is the fact that I don't make excuses, and I set a standard for myself. If I say I'm going to do something, I simply do it, and that's something that was drilled into me, I think, from a young age. If you say you're going to do something, deliver on what you say you're going to do. And I read a book called The Slight Edge, and that book literally completely resonated with me, and I was just like, I completely get this. So the idea of a slight edge is to do the things that are easy to do and easy not to do. They're in alignment with your goals. So let's say you set a goal, you want to lose weight, or you want to build some muscle, or you want to build a business, or you want to move into an apartment with sea views, or you want to go traveling, or you want to do whatever it might be. You set a goal, and that goal then has tasks that you need to follow to achieve that goal. So you reverse engineer it, and you break it down into like monthly things you need to do, weekly things that you need to do, daily things that you need to do, hourly things that you need to do. And then in order for you to actually move the needle with regards to where you are to where you want to be in that goal, you then have to go and deliver and execute on the things that you've got to go and do, right? Then tasks you have to execute on them. And some of them are easy to do and easy not to do. Like, for example, getting in shape. It's really easy to track your calories. It's also easy not to do it. Going to the gym. It's easy to do it, easy not to. Prepping your meals, whatever it might be, like cooking, going to the supermarket, buying something healthy, cooking something that's good for you versus not good for you, or making an investment in clothing for the gym, supplementation, whatever it might be. These are things that are easy to do with like Amazon one click nowadays, or whatever it is, but we continuously just don't deliver on the things that are easy to do because they're also easy not to do. And we make this mistake of we procrastinate, and years just go by where we don't actually make much progress. And I've had this in my own life, where just coasting through, and before you know it, like 5 years can potentially go by where you're stuck in a job that you don't like. You're progressively getting more and more out of shape and unhappy with the way you look. You're gaining weight. Your health markers are declining rapidly. Not rapidly, but slowly over time. That compound effect, which is what the Slight Edge refers back to. So the two books that I really would recommend, I read them back to back, was The Slight Edge and The Compound Effect. They're both based on the same thing. And both of these authors were mentored by a guy called Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn is like one of the top self-development authors, like coach, gurus, whatever you want to call it, of all time. And yeah, like YouTube the guy, or listen to audios, books that he's written, or literally just consume all of his content, and then you'll realise that, wow, I really can do this. Like, that's all that I learned. So I got back from travelling, I realised that I had no business, I realised that I was in debt, I realised that I was back living with my dad, prior to travelling I was living in an apartment which was quite nice as well at the time, and I just felt like I wasn't really moving forward. Like I travelled, and I developed a much better perspective of life, and I was hugely motivated from what I saw, and I was like, I want to go and do that again. But then obviously my true passion is in what I do, and I feel obviously grateful to do what I do for a living. And yeah, I wanted to launch back up again, but never did I expect to be where I am now. But I would say to anyone listening to this, like, if you're listening to this thinking, I can kind of resonate or relate with this guy, like I don't feel like I've got any huge given talent, or you might have this massive talent, but even with that, if you haven't got the ability to go and graft your ass off and work and work and work and just do the things that you need to do every single day based on the goal you've got set, then you can kiss goodbye to any kind of progress in that area. No matter how talented you might be, if you can't work hard, then you aren't going to make the progress that you want to make. And that's just what has enabled me to push through and go through the obstacles that have been presented in front of me. And I now feel like the catalyst now will be this move, because I feel like I've got the freedom. I'm not living in my dad's space anymore, and I'm able to now do a podcast without anyone listening, because I'm here on my own, and I can just literally let my thoughts come out. And for me, this is like therapy. Like I'm honoured that you would sit there and listen to me, And at the same time, this is like therapy. This is like me just letting everything out and just talking to my laptop and a microphone and putting it out there for the world to see, just to try and, I'm just literally going to document the whole process, because I've got massive goals now. I know where I want to go. I know how many people I want to influence. I know what I want to try and, I know what I want to try and be, and the legacy that I want to try and leave. And I want people to think of me as someone who's got a true ambition to actually help as many people as I can to be healthier, be fitter. Like, I never knew any of this existed in me, but all of the things that I look back on that I was doing was gearing me up towards being this person that I really, really want to grow towards being. Like becoming a PT in the first place. Like, it wasn't even part of the plan. I was doing a university degree to become a PE teacher. I started doing PT because I loved going to the gym, and I just enjoyed watching a guy on YouTube called Greg Plitt, who was really motivational. I thought, one day I'd love to be as motivational as him. And now people tell me that I'm motivational, and that for me is just like, I can't even, I can't process it. Like, I really find it hard to process that. And I don't know if everyone's like that, but for me it's really difficult to process that. But I just generally enjoy this and the opportunity to have an impact and have an influence on someone. And platforms like this enable me to do that. So podcasts, YouTube channels. I'm fortunate enough to have Callum working for me full time now. And Callum's just an incredible guy who literally is willing to work his arse off, and he's going to be in a lot more vlogs coming up soon. Obviously, he was on the podcast recently, and the idea is we're going to be putting out more content on SoundCloud, on iTunes, on podcasting, and vlogging on YouTube is going to become a daily thing soon. And I really want to document the process of just how I live my life, and how Callum lives his life, and how Robin lives her life, and how we're trying to be the best versions of ourselves with health, training, diet, mindset, self-development, business, everything that we kind of do day to day, to give you an insight into what we do in the hope that it might inspire someone else to think, do you know what, I want to go and chase my own dreams and do what I want to do, and myself be healthier and feel better about myself, and be on the journey of getting better. Because at the end of the day, we're not putting this content out there because we feel like we've made it. We feel like we're the complete opposite of that. We feel like we're on a journey to try and develop and improve, and that's how we feel. Like, we want to document the journey rather than try and suggest that we've made it, because trust me, we definitely haven't, and we still have so many struggles and stresses every single day like everyone else does. It's just the things that we put in place that enable us to try and manage those stresses. The things like eating well, the things like exercising, the things like doing these kind of podcasts and communicating with each other, and self-development, and literally everything that we do is things to try and help us improve. And I can say, like, I never thought I could ever speak like this before, and I never would I have imagined going into and doing public speaking about anything. Like, I never imagined that ever being possible for myself. And what I want you to realise is that you can do it. If I can do it, then anyone can. So my life now that I'm living is pretty mental. It's pretty nuts. Like, I never imagined ever doing any of this stuff. So what I want you to realise is this isn't part of any kind of master plan. Obviously, I set goals and I work my ass off towards them, but until they become a reality, it's hard to explain. But if you're listening to this and you're thinking, I can't imagine what it will be like to have the goal that I've got set, that's completely normal. But what you do need to realise is that it can happen, and you do need to believe in yourself. And initially, the belief that you have in yourself and your confidence in yourself will be really low, it'll be shit. But with every action that you take that moves you towards the place and the person that you want to be, you'll realise that, oh my God, like, I can actually do this, because each step you take is a step closer to where you want to be. And it's them things that are easy to do and easy not to do that will be the thing that predicates whether you move forward or not. So just think to yourself, what are my goals? What am I working towards at the moment? And then think, what are the things that I need to do that will get me there? Now, am I currently doing them? Just assess everything. Like one thing that I do every single day is I'll write down in my best self journal like lessons that I've learned in that day, my wins for the day. I'll look through my schedule on hours in the day that I potentially could have improved, or things that I could do differently, like this podcast, my time management, like all of the things that I could potentially improve to enable me to get to the goals that I've got set, or move me further, or give me that tick in the box with regards to productivity. Like I never used to imagine like my days now where if I'm not doing something productive, I get anxious. I live off of the productivity, and I live off of everything that I'm doing now, because I know that where I want to go, and I know that where I am now, like I'm trying really hard to become present and be happy with what I've got. Where I'm so forward thinking all the time, I'm like, when I'm there, and I have to always keep reminding myself, Jack, become present, realise that what you've got now is incredible, like be grateful. That's why I'm always doing gratitude every day, morning and night, because I've become this forward thinking, like I can't explain it, but having the support network around me to help me to stay grounded and just to be grateful and happy with now. Like I'm just talking random stuff to the screen now, but I'm just trying to be honest with you guys and tell you exactly how I feel and the journey that I'm on. And it's been 20 minutes of me just rambling on, but I just want to give you guys context into how my brain kind of works, and how it's a continuous process of learning and developing to try and help me to get better and be more, which is the whole idea of this podcast. Like that is what I do all of the time. Like my day, if I show you my calendar from 4 a.m. when I wake up in the morning until 10 p.m. at night, I try and literally spend that whole time doing tasks that are helping me to be more, helping me to get better, helping me to improve, helping me to help more people, and help, because at the end of the day, if I can be better, then my service to others will be better. And that's why I always focus on, because I know that if I'm good, then I can help everyone else. Whereas if I'm not in a good place, if I look back in periods of my life where I haven't been in a good place and I've been down and my anxiety's been really bad, like I'll look at my business, I'll look at my relationships, I'll look at everything that I look at in my life, and they all suffer if I'm not good. So if there's anything you can listen to in this podcast and think, oh, I really want to improve my relationship, brilliant. First thing you need to do is improve how you feel about yourself, and then I guarantee you'll give more into your relationships, and you'll just be a better person to be around, because that energy that you've got is it's going to give off vibes, and it's going to give off an aura, and your energy is your energy, right? And it can't be lost. It's like the law of thermodynamics is never going to change. Like what you put into something, you're going to get out of it, right? So you're in control of all of this. So if you feel like you're watching this and you're unhappy, or you feel a little bit lost, or you feel a little bit like you're out of control, guess what? There's only one person who's in control, and that is you. And you can completely change the outcome, and you completely change the direction your life is going in just by changing what you do right now. Like what has happened and what is in the past doesn't really matter, and nor is what's going to happen tomorrow. But what you can control is what you do right now. And you can plan ahead for tomorrow, and then plan your actions and what you're going to do. And all of a sudden, that will compound over time. Like, understand one thing, like it doesn't happen overnight. Like, it doesn't happen quickly. And you can't see the results of it, which is why I feel the way I do, because it's not instant results. It's not instant gratification. I know we live in a world where we all live off instant gratification. Life isn't like that. Like you can, on Amazon Prime, you can get something that comes within like 7 hours. That has made us wired into thinking that everything is that way. It simply isn't. And it's not until you realise that, and you can't see the instant reward of the small things that you're doing every single day, but over time they will compound, and that compound interest will be the thing that alleviates everything in your life. So understand and trust the process, because I'm living proof. Like I'm far from done. I'm far from any kind of. I don't feel like I'm an inspiration. Like I'm far from being at a level where I feel like I don't know. I just don't. But if people do say that I am, so I wanted to do this podcast to try and explain how I feel about it all. Because Callum tells me every day that he thinks I'm an inspiration. and I inspire him, and I'm just like, this is fucked. Like, but if I can give off that vibe, then I'm gonna go and do that. So I'm just gonna explain my experiences and talk to the microphone about that, and hopefully add some value. And I'd literally would love to hear your feedback. So like, if you're listening to this, screenshot it and stick it on Instagram story and message me, and I'll send you a video back, and I'll just be like, look, thanks mate for that, or thanks very much for listening. I'd love to know your thoughts. If you have any questions that you want me to go over, or anything you want me to explain with regards to training, diet, mindset, how I feel, blah 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 blah, managing anxiety, whatever it might be, then literally I just want to hear from you guys, and I genuinely mean that. And yeah, I just feel genuinely lucky, honoured to be able to do this. And when I put this like microphone down in a second, I'm going to genuinely feel amazing, because this is things that I wanted to do for such a long time, right? But I would always put it off. Like, I wanted to do a podcast for about 3 years. I started doing it about 3 months ago, maybe a bit longer than that, 4 months ago. So it's something that I wanted to do for such a long time, I just put it off. So now when I go and do it, I feel like that buzz that you get from doing something that you put off for so long. And yeah, there's no time at the present, so don't worry about if you haven't started yet, whether it be a fucking podcast or a gym program or a weight loss program or your own business or the promotion you're trying to get at work, like wherever it might be. Then yeah, it's never too late. Start now. But yeah, I'm excited for next week. This podcast, obviously this weekend I've got the 3 peaks. That's going to be a massive experience that I can touch on next week. And next week there might be 2 podcasts. I'm hoping there's going to be 2, but in one of them we're going to be bringing Robin onto the show, and I can't wait. So we're going to be interviewing Robin, and we're going to be going through her new venture, which she started, which is the Diary of a Girl Boss. She's about to launch her own business, which I'm massively excited about, and watching her journey for me is going to be hugely inspiring. And just being with her for the last 2.5 months has completely changed my life. Like, she helps me get better every single day. So we're bringing her onto the podcast, and we're going to chat to her about everything and her plans, and how I think she can definitely help inspire everyone who listens to this podcast, because she's a hugely inspiring person. And yeah, there's a reason I think why we come together, and yeah, I'm excited for her to come on. So as always, thanks very much guys for listening. I'm gonna do my best to get this launched, this podcast launched and live, whilst I'm on the car on the journey to Ben Nevis tomorrow. So the plan is Ben Nevis, Scaffold Pike, and in Snowdon within 24 hours, then a big piss up watching the boxing in Cardiff Saturday night, and I can't wait. And then back home to this beautiful apartment on Sunday. Literally so grateful, so excited, and yeah, thanks so much for listening. You have no idea how much it means to me. Send me a tweet, Instagram DM me, email me, whatever it is, and if you can, leave a review on iTunes. That would literally mean the world to me, because it would help me get more people to listen to the podcast, which is obviously a big goal of mine, is to have an impact on as many people as I can, and hopefully the message that I'm giving off is a positive one. But yeah, thanks guys. I wish you all the best this weekend. Have a great weekend and enjoy the weather. Hopefully it's going to be a nice one here on the south coast of England, and wherever you might be, have a great weekend. And yeah, I hope you're smashing your goals this year. We're moving into May now, so new month, and let's go smash it. Everyone, let's be more. Thanks lots for listening, and I'll see you soon.